Happy Friday, everybody. I am very grateful that you could be here with me. And again, as usual, I am not very on top of things today. There, now my phone is on Do Not Disturb. And I am going to hope that Dell will come and turn on the studio lights so you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, we are cooking chicken today, and this is going to be absolutely delicious chicken. This is Greek dill chicken, and this is using, shameless plug here, this is using TSL Organics Greek seasoning mix that I am very, very proud of. And now we have some light and you can see what's going on here. Okay, so very first thing that we need to do with this is we needed to make some mayonnaise. Now, we've made mayonnaise a few times on here before, and so you guys know that I use one whole egg, a tablespoon of acid, vinegar, lemon juice, lime juice, whatever works best for you, whatever flavor profile you want. Now, because we're doing something today that's Greek, I could have added lemon juice, but the Greek seasoning has got some lemony yumminess in it. So we made the mayonnaise with one whole egg, a tablespoon of white vinegar, and 1 cup of avocado oil. So there you go, that's all there is to it. And of course, the immersion blender, and everything just happens very quickly when you use the immersion blender. And make sure that you use a jar. Now, I have the jar right here because we're going to be using the mayonnaise. It needs to be just big enough that your immersion blender is going to go in there. Okay, so when we get together in the mornings, I have a cup of coffee with me that always has something yummy in it, but at this time of day, I am not drinking coffee. I am drinking sugar-free iced tea. And I gotta tell you, I think the best investment that we made this summer was an ice machine, because our freezer never has room for ice in it. But the ice machine always has ice on hand. So, okay, let's get busy. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to mix up what we need for, it's not a marinade, it's a coating, I guess. So let's take a look at what I'm doing down here. So I have a bowl. Now, I want to show you guys this. I have these beautiful dill fronds that I got earlier today. Let me get this over here where you can see. Now, these are absolutely lovely and fresh, and they come from a local grower in central Alberta, and I was happy to find them. Now, this, if you want to keep your herbs fresh, if you're buying fresh herbs, growing fresh herbs, and you cut them, good morning, Mom, or good afternoon, evening, I don't know, 5:30 in Alberta when the sun is still shining. Yeah, we'll call it afternoon. So when you have fresh herbs, put them in a glass of water in your fridge. If you put them in a glass of water, they're like flowers. They're going to just shrivel up if you don't do something with them. So we're going to take about 3 or 4 of these and chop them up. Right after, let me grab my spatula. Now I have 80 grams of mayonnaise. Fresh mayonnaise, unseasoned, no salt, no anything. Just this mayo is just avocado oil and the acid and the egg. That's it. Okay, now we're just going to set that over there. And already I have my hands all mucky. So nothing surprising there. Okay, now to this we are going to add 2 teaspoons. You can make them heaping teaspoons if you like. We're going to add 2 teaspoons of TSL Organics Greek seasoning. Now this Greek seasoning is going to give you an amazing flavor on your chicken. Now in Alberta, the last couple of days have not been very warm. They've been kind of cool and rainy and yucky, even though we're still in August. So because of that, I had planned, as you know, I had planned on being out at the barbecue today, but things kind of went sideways. You know, every now and again, you have a friend who is an amazing friend and is always there to help you, and today that friend needed my help. So that's why we're getting together a little later than I had planned. We won't make a habit of this. We'll try and get together at 4 o'clock, but I was happy to be there for her and give her a hand when she needed it, because she is always there for me. And if she's watching, she knows who she is. Okay, now we have 80 grams of fresh mayonnaise, unseasoned, unsweetened always, and 2 teaspoons of TSL Organics Greek seasoning, and to that we are going to add 20 grams of fresh chopped dill. So when you are chopping dill, you don't have to, you can use the whole thing, throw it in a blender, blend it up so that it's just a pureed bunch of yumminess, so you don't have to take the stems off, but I did for this. And so we are going to put that 20 grams of dill right in here. And then we're going to mix it up. Now this is going to go in the oven at 350 degrees. So you want to have your oven preheating. And you want to make sure that we get all of this dill in here. A little bit of it kind of stuck to my spatula. Okay, now that doesn't look like very much, I know. Oh, there we go. It doesn't look like very much, but you are going to be surprised how far this goes. We don't need a really thick coating on our chicken. We need something that is just going to give it amazing flavor. Now, yeah, that is going to give it amazing flavor. So now we need to deal with our chicken. You know how I am with raw meat, right? Okay, everybody knows how I am with raw meat. Don't like it. So, on with the nitrile gloves. And we'll take this. Now, I'm using boneless, skinless chicken breast, and that is part of the reason that we're doing this mayonnaise Greek coating for it, because boneless, boneless, skinless chicken breast has virtually nothing for fat. Well, when we are doing keto, we want to make sure that we have enough fat. So I'm spreading this out and I'm going to dry it well. Now you dry the chicken when you're using it, because when it's dry, whether it's the skin or the flesh, when it's dry, whatever you want to put on it is going to stick much better. So always make sure, and not just with chicken, any kind of meat that you want to put a coating on, or that you want to have a crispy, a caramelized exterior, you want to put it in the frying pan and want it to be all crispy and yummy when it comes out, you want to make sure that you dry it first, because if you don't, you put it in that frying pan and you end up boiling it rather than searing it and getting that nice crispy yumminess on it. Now, I'm not going to sear this chicken, and the reason that I am not going to sear it is because it's boneless or skinless rather, and when you do chicken in a frying pan and you try and sear the outside, often, not always, but often, it will dry out very quickly. And because I'm talking to you, that little bit of extra attention that it would take to make sure that this doesn't get dry, I would rather be paying attention to you and talking with you. Okay, so we cut this little piece off. Now, can you see this? This is the tenderloin. So when you are looking at the chicken breast, this is the outside of the breast. This is the piece that would be up against the bone. Let's turn this a little bit down so you guys, there we go. Okay, so this is the piece up against the bone. This is the chicken breast. When you take it off and you turn it over, this piece that is right here, that is the chicken fillet. That's the piece that you pay extra for. But when you buy the whole chicken breast, it comes with, it's kind of a package deal. So we cut that off first because that is just a beautiful little piece of yumminess that we want to make sure gets treated right. Okay, now this piece is a little bit thinner than the breast, than the main portion of the breast, so I'm going to cut that off as well. Now, so each breast, you're going to end up with 4 pieces because this main part, you can see when you look at it, it is quite a lot thicker than this one. And because it's a lot thicker, it's going to take a lot longer to cook. So if we cut it, and we're going to try and do it in half without cutting my fingers. Okay, now we have 2 pieces of chicken that are much closer in thickness, so they're going to cook at the same rate. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing to this one. We took the fillet off, and now we're taking the thick piece of the breast, and we are cutting that in half so we have 2 thinner pieces. Okay, now, you know, people say this all the time, and I got to tell you guys, when the kids were little, 2 of my children ended up with salmonella poisoning. And the closest anyone could figure out was it was a fast food restaurant that we had been at, because only 2 in the household ended up with salmonella, and there were only 2 places that they had eaten where the rest of us either had not eaten or had eaten something different. Couldn't have come from home because we all ate the same thing. So we narrowed it down, and I'll tell you, salmonella usually comes from chicken, undercooked chicken, or a surface where chicken. So I'm very careful with chicken, and I make sure that the cutting board, and I won't ever use a wooden cutting board for chicken because I'm not confident that I can get every little speck out. So plastic cutting board, you can sterilize that. Make sure that once you've used this, I've used this on chicken, I am definitely not going to use it for anything else for supper tonight. Okay, so there, now you've had your lecture. Honestly, if you've never seen anybody with salmonella poisoning, you really don't want to. It's horrible. They were in such excruciating pain, and there really is nothing, at least at that time, I don't know what you can do about it now, but at that time there was really nothing that could be done about it, and so they just had to wait it out, and it was not very nice at all. Okay, so we have all our chicken in our bowl, and we have an itchy nose, and we are just going to massage all of this Greek yumminess into this chicken. And we are going to put it in our preheated 350 degree oven. Now the mayonnaise that we've put on here, that's going to add fat to our chicken. It's also going to keep it moist when it's cooking. Now if you have time, doing a whole chicken breast is an awesome idea. Soak it in brine. You can look for my Facebook Live. All of the ones that I've done are on the page. So look for the one where I'm using brine, and soak your chicken or your turkey or your pork. Beef not quite as much, but you know, it never hurts. If you soak it in brine for a minimum of 2 hours, and hopefully you can do overnight, the salt in the brine is going to push the flavors from whatever spices that you've added to the brine or whatever herbs. It's going to push the moisture and the flavor into the chicken or the pork, whatever you're brining, and it is going to be amazing. Okay, so here we are. We have our chicken, and we are going to see if we can get our pan over here without getting it all mucky. Oh my goodness, I have an itchy nose today. What does an itchy nose mean? I'm not sure. It must mean we're getting company, because I know that is true. Okay, now let's turn this way and get our bowl over here. Now we're not greasing this pan. It doesn't need to be greased. We're putting it in here. It can be fairly crowded. When you're putting it in a frying pan, you don't want to crowd it. Now the thin end of this chicken, I'm folding it up. That way it's not sitting by itself. It's not going to overcook and dry out. It's going to cook with the rest of it. Now there's one of those little tenderloins. We're going to stick that in there. And once we get this all in here, we are going to pop it in the oven for about half an hour-ish. Now you want to check it. Your chicken needs to be a minimum of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure what that is in Celsius. You know, my generation is an interesting generation as far as measurements go, because we were taught half in imperial and half in metric. So my oven, the temperatures are always in imperial. I buy meat by the pound, but I measure things by the gram on the scale, right? So, you know, we have a combination of both. Now this is two fair size. They're not huge, but these are two fair sized chicken breasts. Now you can see I've got a big clump of our yumminess on here, and I am just gonna rub that on there, and I am going to do everything that I can to scrape all of this out of here and put it on the chicken, because it is going to be incredible. Okay, now that is that. And we'll take the last little bit off of here and put it on there. And now we'll take these off and we will pop this in the oven. Okay. There. That is that. Now, 350 degree oven. Now this cutting board has had raw chicken on it, so we're going to get that out of the way. Okay, now, I know you can't see my oven, you just have to trust me when I tell you it's here and that this is going in it. No, the one last thing that I forgot to do. Now this is important, and it's important because you want the moisture of the chicken and the sauce that we've made, you want that to stay on there. So grab your roll of tin foil and take just enough out to cover your pan. You always want to make sure you put the shiny side down. You want the heat reflected onto whatever you're cooking, not reflected away. You know, I remember when I was a little girl, my mom telling me that over and over again. It was something that, it's an important thing to know, because you want your food to cook properly. And I don't know why that really sticks out in my mind, but it really does. So, okay, into the oven it goes. Time travel. Now I need my thermometer, my meat thermometer. So it should be right here. Now you remember I told you that Dell was going to be going back to work and I wasn't going to have a production crew. Well, both of those things are true. He did start back to work yesterday, and I got to tell you, watching someone recover that is eating low carb is really a cool thing to see. And you know I've told you before, even the surgeon was really quite surprised at how quickly the inflammation was going down and how quickly he was recovering. So that's an important thing to know. Now this absolutely is not done. Guaranteed it is not done. But we're going to stick this thermometer in here anyway. I can tell looking at it that it isn't. Now, you look at the thermometer. Whoops. Let's see if I can. You know, I am dropping everything tonight. Okay, so we need to turn this on chicken. Okay, now this is 180. At 180 degrees for chicken, it's going to be all dried out. But if you look at the current temperature, we are only at 80 degrees, so we are only halfway there. So this is going to take a while to cook. It has been in a 350 degree oven for about half an hour. I cheated a little bit, and I was hoping that it might be done, but it is not. So that tells me either I have a cool spot in my oven, or it's just going to take about an hour when you have this much chicken in the pan. If you only do one breast, if you're doing one serving or two, it'll be done a lot more quickly. Okay, so that is that, and that is what we are going to be having for supper in a little while. Alexa, set a 30-minute chicken timer.
Chicken timer, 30 minutes, starting now.
Now, I am going to continue to enjoy my ginormous...
You have Sleep Buddy enabled. Do you want to open it?
No, thank you. I am going to continue to enjoy my glass of iced tea. We will be a little more organized next week. Now, I don't know whether you saw my very quick live this morning, but if you did, thank you for watching. First of all, you can find me, I'm kind of all over central Alberta, a little bit more and more all the time. Monday, I am at the Ponoka Community Market in my hometown. On Tuesday, I am just thinking about what I can do for fun with you guys on my live for Wednesday morning. Every second Wednesday, I'm in Wetaskiwin, Alberta. So not next Wednesday, but 2 weeks from now, because I was there yesterday. Then Thursdays, I'm in Innisfail, Alberta from 10 until 1 p.m. And Fridays, I'm in Lacombe, Alberta from 9 until 1. So if you are wanting to stock up your spice shelves, check out the seasoning blends that I've got, or you have questions about keto, please stop by any of those places. I love meeting anyone who's watching and not watching. And send this, I want to tell you about someone that I was talking to, a family member today, and they are, they're really struggling with someone that they know and love, because this person is on the verge of losing a limb to type 2 diabetes. That is such a common thing to happen. It really is. And even though the situation is that serious, even though this amputation is really almost imminent, not willing to do keto, not willing to do anything that is low carb, not willing to give up sugar, not willing to give up cookies or pop or any of the things that are important. Now, I was willing, and if you're watching, there's a good chance that you will be willing, one of the three. But I really encourage you to be gentle, because for people who are not willing, they're going to go through what they're going to go through. And honestly, they need your love and support. They need your empathy. They don't need you to understand, because I don't understand. But there are a lot of things I don't understand. I don't understand French. I don't understand, Swahili. There are a lot of things in this world. Brain surgery, know it works. A lot of times, don't understand how. You don't need to understand. You need to respect someone else's belief. You need to respect a person's right to choose, because it is your right to expect them to respect your right to do keto, and lead by example, and do your very best to live your best version of this shining life. I am so grateful that you were here today joining me, and I hope I will see you here again Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Not sure what we're doing, but it will be fun. Bring a friend. Send an email, send a text message, get some friends and family together and watch it all at the same time, and then you can talk about it afterwards and tell me what you think, or tell each other what you think. Maybe, just maybe, if you get the right person watching, we together can do them some good. Here's hoping. Thank you again for joining me and for being so patient. Next Friday, we will be here at 4 p.m. And we're doing salmon next Friday. So you don't want to miss that. It's going to be wonderful. I will talk to you on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Thank you for joining me. Bye for now.